Welcome to another episode of the Red Arrow Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Marco, with my lovely co-host,
Jessica.
How you doing, Jessica?
I'm okay.
You awake?
No. No, I'm not awake, and I have bags under my eyes. I'm so tired.
Oh, I'm tired. I'm awake. I'm tired. I'm just cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting week.
It has been a very interesting week.
We had snow days this week.
We kept putting off podcast recording because things were busy, things were crazy. We got to even last night, we're like, okay, this would be a great time to sit down with the microphones and some cocktails and tell some tales. And it's like, nope, too tired. So here we are with a morning recording of the Red Arrow Health and Wellness Podcast.
Woo!
What are you drinking for this episode?
I have a fabulous purple coffee cup full of water and ice cubes. What are you drinking today?
I have a stocking cap on because I'm cold and flannel pajama pants and my robe. You're over there drinking ice water.
Well, I can't have any more coffee. If I have some more coffee, I'm going to fly around this room. So
Fly around this room and maybe off to the bathroom.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No gallbladder.
Oh, I'm having coffee.
Good for you.
Just coffee. Tim Hortons coffee because
Whoa.
hockey, eh? This is a big weekend of hockey. I got more hockey going on today.
Lots of hockey.
Got a little sugar-free chocolate chip cookie dough, simple syrup alternative, whatever, in there to sweeten it up.
Do you
flavor
like
it.
that? Is it good?
Yeah, actually, I do like it.
Okay.
Not like every day, but it's fun.
All right.
It's a little bit different.
Cool. I tried it. I didn't love it.
Oh, well. You've got the French vanilla and the
I do
caramels
like
and all the other,
French
and
vanilla
just plain.
the
And
caramel. Is there anything else in your coffee?
no, it's just coffee and sugar-free syrup because, like, I got to coach again today, and yeah, don't need a cocktail before that. Might really need a cocktail after that, but not before. Yeah. Well, cheers, sweetie.
Cheers.
Not a good clang. Coffee mugs.
Water. It's good for you.
So you didn't want a morning cocktail?
No.
Why is that?
I have an insurance report due tomorrow.
Something else where
so-
not good to have a cocktail
No,
before, but you
I-
definitely need one afterwards.
For sure. Yeah, those are just tedious and something that just has to get done.
Yeah.
Yes, it just is. It's a part of work life, so I need to be with it. So
Enough
it can be
said.
as perfect as possible.
Should we? Let's just get into like the weekend that was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, but like it's been a crazy weekend. What?
There's a spider on the wall.
Then kill it. He's not moving. It's cold down here. There you go.
Okay.
Extra early morning yesterday to get up. We had a mite jamboree, and if you don't know what a mite is, that's a U8, 8 and under hockey jamboree. We have teams come in from out of town along with our local teams, and they play cross ice. And if you don't know what cross ice is, it's where we split up the ice into 3 little mini rinks, and they play side to side instead of lengthwise.
Mm-hmm.
It's the right size. For them, they got small legs, so everything's scaled down. Their pucks are a little bit lighter than a normal puck.
Are they?
Yeah, those little blue pucks they use, those are 4 ounces instead of the regulation 6-ounce black
I
pucks.
did not know that.
Black pucks, yeah.
I just thought they were blue so the kids could see them better.
No, they're so that we know the difference between what like
That's
kids
funny.
1 and 2 use, which is the same thing that the adults use and the NHL players use.
Mm-hmm.
The little guys, it's hard to really push that thing around when it's heavier. So they have a lighter puck. They have smaller nets.
Mm-hmm.
When they start out and learn to play, they got the really itty bitty tiny nets.
Yeah.
Then there's the intermediate net, and that's what kid 3 uses.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get to U10 and up, they use the full size regulation nets, which are 6 feet by 4 feet.
Awesome.
So we had a jamboree. We had to get up early for that. Kid 3 was in net, which was totes adorbs.
Totes adorbs. I
He
saw the
looked like-
pictures. He was so cute.
He looked like a Funko Pop because he's got like a big head and a little body, little marshmallow man.
Nice. Yeah, he was very, very cute as a goalie yesterday.
Yeah, it's an interesting challenge to coach them out on the ice because at that level, they're coming out of learn to play. They're not quite transitioning into when they get to U10, they go full ice with all the rules and the positions, and we get into that, and it still takes a while to adjust to that. But at the level they're at right now, some of the kids are starting to get spatial awareness, where they are on the ice, what's going on, the flow of the game, and other ones are still like Cloud hockey. Chase the
Cloud
puck.
hockey.
Puck. I must go get the puck. Doesn't matter that somebody in the same color jersey already has the puck. So I'm out there trying to there's putting groups out. Like have some groups where they're spread out and they're passing and they're getting that goalie moving and they're firing pucks. And it's like, awesome. Yay. And I got other groups where it's like, okay, one person on the other team has the puck. And we're playing 4-on-4 and all 4 of my players are defending that one person. And the other 3 players on the other team are sitting wide open, ready for a shot at, well, this weekend was my kid, but it's, one of my players in net. And it's like, oh, Lord. And then you take the next step down and it's not only do, we have the puck, but then I've got a player going in and basically tackling my own players because he wants the puck so bad.
That's not good. You gotta be nice to your teammates, buddy.
Yeah. It's like, dude, lift your head up a little bit. Look around. You just stole it from insert name here. He's our friend. He's our teammate. We don't want to steal it from him.
Nope.
And to some degree, you got to laugh. And some degree, it's just like, oh. It's like, whatever. So we did that. And then we hit the road. We're straight from the rink because Kid 1 had an out-of-town game.
She did.
And that was an adventure.
Indeed it was. We saw some things.
We saw some things
trip
that can't be unseen.
They cannot, especially because we took pictures of those things.
And it was quite the road trip. And that gets into our topic for tonight. Like, we're not wasting any time. Nope. But we have tonight's episode, I'm so used to recording these in the morning. You know what? I'm opening the blinds to remind myself we're doing this in daylight. Hang on. Maybe if I see the sun out there, I'll remember and stop saying tonight because we usually do these at night.
And the sun is actually out today.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Today's episode is Road Trip Survival Guide. And when we came up with this topic earlier this week and we, put out our notes, it's like, okay, we got some stories and stuff. And then we didn't realize that so many would play into the road trip that was this weekend.
We should play Road Trippin' by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I don't look. We get into licensing and rights. Yeah,
you can find it on iTunes.
There you go. We can suggest people go and
listen to it.
Listen to it. I do not want to get in copyright infringement and all that nonsense.
Not with the Chili Peppers for sure.
I mean, as is our theme music, we went and we bought the license to that and the usage rights, so we're on the up and up. Oh. But the road trip to us, we made it there. She played great.
She did good.
She did. I'm very happy there. She let in a few goals, which is normal at that age. But then what made me excited was when she got beat, she had absolutely no chance. It was like 3 on none. So if you don't know what that means, it's like 3 of their players and none of our defenders. So it's like, they can pass it faster than she can go sliding across that 6-foot wide net.
Yeah.
And they had her moving. And, she did the best she could. And the first time we played that team, it was 11-0, 11-1, something ridiculous. Oh. So the fact that we lost 7-1.
That's better.
Yeah, and we split the goalie time, thankfully, because, and we'll get into it in a little bit, but we walked in as they were dropping the puck. So the other goalie went and played the first half of the game, and he let in 4, and then halfway through the second period, our kid jumped into net, and she let in 3, and we lost 7-1. Hey, improvement, but actually they played better. They looked better. We still got room for improvement, obviously. We got some things we want to work on because we got games going on.
Hooray, games.
Well, we've been playing scrimmages and whatnot, waiting for things to open up. So we got work to do before this winter hockey season ends. But this is not an all hockey episode. So if you're like, oh God, they're going to talk about youth hockey all the time. No, we're not. But we got some stories from yesterday's youth hockey travels. And we got some other travels. To kick this off, though, a road trip survival guide. This is basically going to be 10 tips for successful travels, especially when you're doing it with kids, but not necessarily with kids. And along the way, we've got some anecdotes from our experiences. I guess, Jess, as we go through this, what in your recollection was your favorite, the best road trip? Growing up or as life with the kids?
When I was little, not too little, but like, I don't know, 12, something, 11, 12, somewhere in there, we took this massive road trip. I think it was like 2 weeks long. We went from Michigan to Florida. We were going to Pensacola, Florida. And it was in the summer, so hurricane season, but we weren't thinking about that. And the trip down to Florida was supposed to take 2 days. And my dad decided that trip was only going to take 1 day, and we were going to get there within 24 hours. And we did. We rolled into Florida 23 hours later after leaving Michigan. And then we needed a hotel room. And my parents did not think to book a hotel room beforehand. So we spent the next, I don't know, maybe 2 hours driving.
This is a car with like you and your brother and your mom, who's notorious for like stopping to pee every like 10 minutes.
Yeah. The next 2 hours, hopping from hotel to hotel, desperately trying to find a room for the night. We finally found one. Slept kind of okay. Got up the next morning, drove to our condo in Florida where we were introduced to cockroaches for the first time. So
Palmetto bugs?
Yeah, that was exciting. There was lots of screaming. My dad was super pissed about all of the screaming.
He's still tired from the 23-hour drive.
It was ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And then we went to the grocery store, bought groceries, got them all home, started to get unpacked when the realtor called and said, "A hurricane is coming. You have to evacuate the island right now." And my parents were like, "Well, no, we just got here. We don't want to." And they're like, "You have to. You can't stay there. Get off the island now." So instead of being smart about this and like calling a hotel to reserve a room, my parents decided we would go to dinner. So we went and we had dinner. It was seafood. It was fantastic. And then we had to go and try and find a hotel along with everybody else in Florida because hurricane. That didn't go well. We found one finally, but it took a really long time.
I'm sure it was a quality establishment
no,
too.
No, it was not. It was terrible. So we spent like the next, I think maybe 2 days and nights in this crappy hotel. We couldn't go anywhere because there was massive flooding. I think the hurricane wound up being a tropical storm. I don't really remember. But lots of flooding, lots of pissed off parents, super grumpy with my brother because he was irritating. I'm sure I was irritating too. After the 2 days, though, we were able to get back to our condo and we were like, yay, Florida vacation. Except that after a hurricane, tropical storm rolls through, there's usually lots of rain that follows up behind it. So I think we made it to the beach like once, maybe, and the rest of the time.
In the rain? Just to prove a point because your dad's being stubborn?
Like, there's pictures with sunshine, but it rained shortly after we finally got to the beach. And
When you say there's pictures with sunshine, was it actual sunshine or is it just because your parents have almost named you Sunshine?
No, it was actual sunshine.
And it's just you standing in the rain.
So, I don't know. We were there for a couple more days and then it was time for us to go. And we went to New Orleans so that my parents could like show me where I was born and we could see some old family friends and they could show us the city and everything. And the rain followed us.
Swing by Bourbon Street.
Yeah, that was fun. It was neat. There was a witch who was like shouting things in the middle of the French Quarter. And my parents were like, don't look at her, don't talk to her. And I was like, but she's a witch. She has like a stick and everything. The rain followed us to New Orleans though. And it was like torrential downpour the entire time. I wanted to go into a voodoo shop. They wouldn't let me. That was disappointing. We were there for a couple days. And then after that, we went to my uncle's house in Mississippi where it continued to rain the entire time. After that, we were there for, I don't know, maybe 2 days, a day. It doesn't matter. After that, we went up to Tennessee because my dad wanted to go to the Jack Daniel's distillery.
And this is, just to be clear, this is your best road trip story?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, we took lots of road trips, but
this one turned out the best?
With the most vivid memories.
Oh my God.
So we went to the Jack Daniel's distillery because my dad absolutely loves Jack Daniel's. And he was like, this is going to be amazing. We're going to see how it was made. We're going to learn about the guy. It's going to be great. And we did, except that my brother and I were not interested in the history of Jack Daniel's. And also we're in the middle of friggin' nowhere and there's like a stream.
You're in a dry county, so I don't know what you can't even do tastings there.
They did not do tastings, but we went on a tour of the distillery, which I guess looking back was actually pretty cool. But at the time, it sucked.
Yeah,
it did.
Now that you're almost 40 and
I'm pretty sure that we made it miserable for my dad. And he was super pissed that it was not the experience he wanted.
My parents used to hit up wineries when we go on road trips and everything and tour. And like we'd go tour. And it's like, as a little kid, it's like, great. It's another hole in the ground farm. You know, and it's like, can we get to the end of the tasting when you do the one non-alcoholic one that the kids can taste?
Yeah. So there's that. And then after that, we went home to Michigan where it continued to rain. So basically, we went on this massive road trip for 2 weeks where it rained.
Your best story involves 2 weeks of rain and everybody pissed off in the family.
Basically, yes.
Oh my God. It's just going to go downhill from there.
We took road trips every single year, but they were always from wherever it was that we lived at the time to Maryland and Virginia to visit all of our grandparents and our aunts and uncles. But that was like our one big family road trip that we took to someplace other than Maryland and Virginia. So that's why it probably sticks out more than the others.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, what's your best road trip?
Well, like you and being a child of the 80s,
this was from the 90s.
Well, whatever. 80s and 90s growing up, we did lots of road trips, especially since I was one of 4 kids. So we drove and it's only it's less than 24 hours drive. Yeah, we're driving. Not only that, both my parents are Yoopers. They're from the UP of Michigan, so we have family spread all over Michigan and the Midwest. So we went up to the UP a lot, and which is a hike. And we in spring break and everything was always road trips. Most memorable, I would say, best road trips growing up were we would take an extended vacation camping, but we'd had our Suburban. We'd load all the kids in. When we got the Suburban, my brother and I thought it was great because we're the younger two. And in that third row seat, there's less leg room. It's even shorter, but we're like, oh my God, our feet can touch the ground. It was great. Then our sister sat in the middle and my parents sat up front. That parent thing where the arm goes back.
Yes,
yeah, it was like a relay event where they would go swat at your brothers, and my sisters took joy in swinging the arm at us. But then we would we had all our stuff in there. Then we would pull the family boat behind, which was a 19-footer, and inside the boat we loaded stuff in there. So the inner tubes, the bicycles, everything were inside the boat. That's cool. We had our bikes, we had our big family tent, we had the boat, everything, and we would go. I think the one that stands out the most is we went up along the Michigan shoreline, basically leapfrogging, and we'd set up a campsite, and then we would go boating, and then we'd come back in and leapfrog up a little bit more up the coastline, and just kept going and seeing all these little coastal towns. And it still stands with me. I was a real little kid when we did it, but it was fun, and it's very much summer vacation. So that is my best story.
Okay.
At least best memory of road trips. Jessica, you set the bar at a very interesting level at best. What was the worst road trip?
Might be the same one. Oh, Lord, I don't know what the worst one was.
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Can you pick a horrible road trip?
My mom took us on a road trip to visit her friends, old family friends. They lived in Illinois at the time. And that part was fun. It was fine. But then on the way home, she took a detour so we could go and visit these family friends that we had when I was super little and we lived in Georgia. And I have very few memories of these people. I know that I used to play with them because they're kids. They had kids. They were around my age. They lived down the street. But we really didn't talk to them after we left the state of Georgia. So it was super awkward. And she got lost on the way there, and there was a rainstorm, and there's a muddy road, and I thought we were going to run off the road because of all of the rain and that the dirt road was getting washed out. But we made it to these people's house, and then we sat there. My brother and I sat there, and my mom talked to her friend that she hadn't seen in 12 years or something. And all of her kids basically hid in their rooms away from me and my brother. And it was
how many kids? Because when you say all of the kids, it sounds like they live in a shoe.
No, they live in a shoe.
Butt ton of kids all over the place.
4 kids. It's a nice sized house. It was fine. But it was just in the middle of nowhere, and those kids did not come out of their room the entire time, and we were there for 4 hours. And then my mom found out that their oldest daughter was actually getting confirmed. And then my mom got like upset. She was like, I can't believe you didn't invite me to your daughter's confirmation. I would love to see it. And I was like, oh, I want to go home. I don't want to go to church right now. This is horrible. We have to go because she has to go get confirmed today. So time to go, Mom. Let's go. And then we got lost on the way home. And it was not good getting lost on the highway.
Nice.
Never a good time. Yeah, it's like a really weird story. Sorry, people. How about you? What was your worst car trip?
Oh, there's several to choose from. How about two? Both involving ones my parents planned.
Okay.
One was spring break 1980 something. First grade. Still memorable. Still like stands out in family lore. There's still stories about this one. So we go on this massive road trip down through the Smokies and everything. And yeah, the main part was to stay at this resort in the Smokies with indoor-outdoor pool connected, which is cool in the spring. Mm-hmm. But we were also going to Cumberland Gap and all sorts of stuff. And partway through the trip, a snowstorm moves into the...
awesome.
Yeah. We end up snowed in at this, basically, the motel we could find at the time, which had green shag carpeting.
Oh, that's fun. Ew.
And we're stuck in there for a couple days with supplies. So basically, we're eating like instant oatmeal. And I think we had a few cans of whatever.
Beans.
Well, they're
probably beans.
They're probably like those soy cocktail hot dog things my parents used to get when we like emergency supplies.
Oh my God.
For trips and stuff. My brother and I always refer to them as dirt bean hot dogs because we're like, where does the soybean come from? They're like, it grows in the dirt. We're like, oh, dirt bean hot dogs. Yeah, this is so disgusting. Will not eat those things to this day. But so we're stuck there for a while. I do remember once we finally got out of that hotel, we went to Shaker Village. Mm-hmm. And I just remember like you took like the wait staff was just sitting there. So like the bread rolls, you ate a bread roll, they brought a new basket.
Oh
you took a sip of your milk, they refilled it. But the other thing was the lemon meringue pie did not really, if you used sugar, it didn't use very much because it was tart. Oh my, it was tart. But we were all starving, so we just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate and drinking constantly like milk because we were little kids. I remember we did have a snowball fight across 3 states.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. But it was the being trapped in the snowstorm. That was rough. The other one was the year my parents decided they were going to take... my oldest sister was off at college or her career or whatever. But it was the other sister, my brother, and I. And we were going to Niagara Falls because we had never been. Mm-hmm. So we decided to cut through Canada from Michigan because why not? It's the faster route. Usually. And there was a massive wreck. And so there was this huge backup. And my mom was just coming off. She had broken her ankle. Like actually the day we got out for summer vacation, we had a big party. We were playing Capture the Flag. We had a fire pit. We were making s'mores. My mom was coming down. We had this 2-tiered deck out of the back of our house. Mm-hmm. And she was coming down. She missed a step, fell, broke her ankle.
That's terrible.
So that was a horrible summer. Where not only for Mom, who was in bed, and it was a bad break. My brother and I were like, my dad had to go to work, so we're like, okay, we're making TV dinners for lunch. And it was just, yeah. And at the end of the summer, it's August, dog days of summer, so it's heat wave moves through in August. Michigan and Canada. Miserably hot. And all of a sudden in Ontario, everything's backed up for miles and miles. I'm sorry, it's in Canada, so it's kilometers and kilometers.
Nice.
Yeah. And my sister had a UTI going on, and my brother and I had this like 7 to 10 gallon jug of water with a spigot at the bottom and plastic cups. So we're trying to mess with her. So we're like, yeah, pretty much. We're hitting. You can hear the water hitting the cheap plastic cup, and then she's miserable. Of course, we were doing this for so long, then we had to pee too. It got to the point where like my mom had to get out of the car and like just walk along the highway. We had this really creepy guy as the traffic is inching forward and like 4 lanes wide because everyone's on the shoulders too. And he's just leering at my mom and my sister. And we can't get away from him because we're stuck in traffic and it's hot and it's miserable. My dad is just angry. We eventually get to where they're diverting traffic off the highway down one single ramp. And the Ontario Provincial Police, in all their wisdom, OPP. Yeah. Not that OPP, the Canadian version of OPP. The police are going, oh, there's 2 cars of local traffic. We'll let them through and we'll stop this hours and hours of backed up highway traffic. Oh my God. So we eventually get into the back roads, and now it's single lane, 2-lane road, one in each direction. And we eventually make it to Niagara Falls. Late to our check-in, they'd given away our hotel reservation. So now we're in Niagara Falls, and we're on the Canadian side, and we're looking for a place to stay. Dad finally found a hotel to stay in. He just a normal double room for the 5 of us. Everybody's miserable. My mom's ankle hurts. My sister's bladder hurts. Everybody's hot, miserable. The big suite we had set up in the hotel is gone. My brother and I are just sick of being in the car, and we've run out of things to torment everybody with. Yeah. There you go.
That's awful.
It was awful. I mean, there was also the one where we went down to Oklahoma because my boss, who was also my dad's best friend, got married, and I was in high school, and my brother and I were miserable. And we get there and okay, well, we brought our rollerblades. We're gonna play roller hockey in the parking lot of the hotel. Yeah, it was a gravel parking lot, so we couldn't do that. We're like, what kind of hillbilly place are we in? Yeah, we were, of course, and we were, high schoolers, so we were just miserable to be around anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to do a book report, and I have to read a book by Bill Gates, which was the boringest thing ever. So every 5 minutes, I would fall asleep and wake up and where was I? Yeah.
You had to do a book report on a book by Bill Gates?
Oh, God, it was miserable.
Why?
I think it was for computer programming class.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, so those are some bad trips.
Yes.
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 So let's get into our tips here.
Yes.
And I'm sure we got more stories to go along with you. So, Jessica, what is survival tip number 1 for surviving a road trip?
Backseat entertainment. You have got to have some way to entertain yourselves and your kids or your parents or whoever else is in the car.
Or front seat entertainment, too.
Yeah, front seat entertainment is a must.
Entertainment in general, but especially if you've got kids.
Yeah, so lots of cars have built-in DVD players at this point, and that's awesome. So you can bring movies, or if you don't have that, you can preload them onto a tablet.
Or Blu-rays, or 4K.
I don't think... Well,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
But
right.
You're showing your age, you're going DVD.
But our car only plays DVDs. It
I
doesn't
know.
play Blu-rays. It's not awesome enough.
Well.
Anyways, you can preload them onto a tablet or a phone or whatever other kind of device you have.
Be sure it's something you can change, because I remember we did a road trip with kid 1 and 2 were very young. Kid 2 was 5 months old. We had to go down. One of your friends was getting married. You were in we went to Florida. We went to Florida from Virginia. And we went down. Actually, you got measured you were the matron of honor, and you got measured for that dress. It had to be measured 6 months out. So it was right before kid number 2 was born. You were incredibly pregnant.
It was huge.
And then we go down so the dress was already not fitting well, and you were upset about that. We went down, no problem. We had, it was that car didn't have video players in it. So we got the ones that had the 2 screens.
Like the portable DVD player.
Yeah, one of them was the master, and you plugged in the disc to it and hung on the back of the headrest. And because we had one kid was facing forward, one kid was facing backwards, we could run the cables behind it, and they could have something to watch. Mm-hmm. The hard part was you couldn't change the disc on the fly. So on the return trip home, and because they were so little, we actually had stopovers too halfway through. We weren't pulling one of your dads going, we're going to drive straight through from the D.C. area to the Orlando area. We stopped over in South Carolina.
I think so.
Yeah. But on the way back, right around Richmond, Virginia, we hit heavy traffic because imagine that, another traffic jam. And we got stuck. The disc that they were watching was the first 40 years, the best of the first 40 years of Sesame Street. And it got stuck on the intro screen, and we could not change it.
Just the ABC song for hours on it. It was so bad. God.
And the traffic was inching forward just enough where we couldn't like go, okay, well, it's a traffic jam. Just get out of the car and change it. It was like,
Nope.
no, we're crawling forward at like half a mile an hour.
Hours of the ABC song. And not even the whole song, just the first half.
And the master is behind my head, and it loaded from the door side.
Yeah.
I was driving.
There was no way to just reach in the back and get to it.
Oh, my God.
The kids were actually really happy, though. They were like, yay, we're back on A. All right.
And they're, and meanwhile, we're going, wait a minute, Oscar the Grouch used to be orange?
Yeah.
The green must be the patina.
Oh, that was rough.
Oh, that was rough. But entertainment, the kids were entertained.
They were for sure entertained. You and I were not entertained.
What was it? We finally got off the highway at one point just to feed them. We went into a McDonald's, and like kid one, who is barely one at this point, could tell I was distressed. I'm holding her. You're feeding kid two a bottle. And all I could feel as I'm like all these angry people from the highway who had just gotten off. That sounds wrong. They had gotten off the highway. They're in there, they're hostile, they're angry, they're hungry, they're hangry, and everyone's just frustrated, and the staff is overwhelmed, which is making them look incredibly inept. But to be fair, it was like a weird time to be slammed by business. So all of a sudden, I feel these little pats on my back.
Little tiny
From
pats.
little pats where she's just like she's 1.5, and it was just like, okay, I'm taking a breath. Anyway, entertainment. Other entertainment ideas, Jessica.
Nintendo Switch, their portable, or the other one that I can't remember the name of, the tiny one.
Game Boy?
No.
Oh, the DS.
Yeah.
If you got a Game Boy, kudos for you for still having it work.
iPods, iPod Touches,
Tablets.
The Amazon tablets are really awesome for little kids because they come in a rubber case, and you can't break them. And if you do manage to break them, you can send it back to Amazon and they'll replace it. We are not sponsored by this at all. I just really like that product.
Books, stuffed buddies, they're loveys, they're animals.
Yes, this is actually really important. Little kids don't sleep so good on road trips or overnight hotel trips. We learned after our very first road trip with kid number 1 to bring the stuffed animals, because like the favorite stuffed animals, because she did not sleep the entire time we were out of town with her, because we left her favorite loveys at home because we were afraid they would get lost.
We brought one. We realized you needed more.
Good enough.
It wasn't good enough.
Nope. So after,
and it was the number 2 lovey, because we're like, we don't want to lose the number 1 lovey. We've had experiences with that as kids ourselves, especially you.
Yes, yeah. But after that adventure with her, we were like, okay, pick your top 3 loveys, bring them, and stick them in your pillow. Every time it's time to go somewhere, you can only have it at night when we're getting ready to sleep. And in the morning, you're going to put all of those favorite loveys back in the pillow.
We've also, as they got older, we got them a set of little kid backpacks. And they look like little characters, and they're really cute. One's like a puppy, one's a giraffe, one's a ladybug. I can't remember the other one.
Kid number 4 has a unicorn.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Right. It has a horn.
It does. That's
but
why
it's like,
awesome.
all right, you can put all the loveys, you can cram into this thing.
Yes, and they do. They smush them in there good because they want to make sure they're bringing their favorite ones. But ever since we started doing that, the kids have not had a problem sleeping in a new place. It provides that sense of comfort for them.
We even did that when we went to St. Thomas, and we were staying there. There's a picture of kid 1 and kid 2 passed out in the bed in the little treehouse thing we were staying at, with a sea of loveys around them. Yeah. One's going one way. One's got his head pointed toward, like, kid 2 has his head pointed towards the foot of the bed. Kid 1's the other way. We put some pillows in the middle, so they each had their little area of the bed, because it was like, what, a queen size bed or something.
Yep.
Yeah. But we did take a picture of like just both of them sprawled out with the sea of loveys. Mm-hmm. Well, in addition to loveys, though, I would say Mad Libs have been a lifesaver. One, it's cognitively stimulating, and it helps with distraction, but it's also fun and gets the whole family going. And you usually have 1 or 2 kids who like, I'm not going to play. Yes, you are.
You are going to play.
We have to put restrictions on words. It's like, look, you can only put wiener in the Mad Lib once per Mad Lib.
Poopy is another good
Or
one.
eventually you got to outlaw, like, okay, no poop and pee stuff, because we got the one kid who's always just like, poop, pee.
Yeah, he's great.
Turd.
Fun. Any kind of bathroom language, he's putting it in the Mad Lib. So we have a limit on that. But usually, we have a big family, so there's enough people where they get spread out.
We've got several books, and we've got the compilation things, and we've got actually an app for it too. But we've done superhero ones and Star Wars ones and whatnot. We even have the date night one because you and I, when we went up to Traverse City.
Yeah, we had to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
So we brought the date night Mad
It
Libs. Those are hilarious.
Yes, they are.
Also, you can, if you don't like Mad Libs, but you do want to play some car games, that you can look online. There are hundreds of games that you can find the rules for.
But looking through this, I actually pulled the kids a little bit informally when I was making notes for this one night, and I'm like, what are some of the aspects of the best trips, the worst trips? And they all said, of course, these things where we had entertainment and movies and Switch, and Mad Libs were some of their favorite trips. And the common thread through all the worst road trips we've done was always they were bored. There was nothing to do. There was nothing to look at. The scenery wasn't changing. Kid 1 pointed out we went on one. And Kid 4 had kind of a little cold, a runny nose, and she had to spend almost the entire trip with her arm across, holding a tissue by Kid 4's nose because she was little and wiping her nose constantly.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Aw.
So backseat entertainment. It's a must.
For sure. Number 2 is snacks and beverages.
Definitely a must, especially if you're going to get stuck in traffic.
Yeah, you got to have something to eat.
You got to have something to snack on. It also keeps little kids happy. Like when we were doing road trips as kids, they were known as Wiggly Boy treats.
I do like that phrase.
Even my sisters would ask for Wiggly Boy treats because we had Wiggly Boys and the boys in the back. My dad would I think about half the supply went to my dad.
Of course.
He was constantly munching on stuff. But if it's hot and you're stuck in traffic and a traffic jam in Canada, especially, or wherever, you got to have some water. Water, lots of it. We usually get water bottles where they're not the screw tops, they're the drink tops.
Yes.
Now, we've gotten better. We're using reusable bottles now. But
yeah, all of the kids have their own little water bottle, which is excellent.
It also, if you want to get some plastic ones and freeze them, that keeps your cooler cold.
Yep.
And when it thaws, you drink it.
Exactly. Works really well.
But things to munch on, you want to avoid things that get melty and sticky in their hands, hot little hands of little kids.
Yeah.
So chocolate covered stuff, not the best, but some favorites in our family are trail mix, jerkies, especially if you get all sorts of different flavor jerky. There's a local purveyor who does all sorts of exotic meats, usually mixed with beef or pork. But you can get kangaroo jerky and elk jerky and venison jerky and gator jerky and rattlesnake jerky and
they're all good too, by the way. We've had all of them and they're wonderful.
The kids like them.
They do.
And then it's like, ooh,
I've eaten kangaroo.
I was asking them what else was their favorite things. And when they get the little mini packets of crackers or cookies, and that's either whether it's the pre-packaged store-bought ones or we just get a big bag and then we pre-package them into little Ziplocs.
Yeah, they make those snack size Ziploc bags.
Or little Gladware, Tupperware type containers for them that we can pass back. Goldfish crackers.
Oh, yeah. Tons of goldfish crackers.
Especially the cheddar flavor.
Yeah. Or the rainbow ones. Because colors are interesting. No, also things they can just suck on. So like hard candies. I know growing up, we always got a box of whatever our favorite candy was. And mine was Sweet Tarts. And it was not a road trip unless I had that box or roll of Sweet Tarts.
Growing up, the number one Wiggly Boy treat, Mentos.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was either that or Lifesavers.
Ooh, Lifesavers. Those are yummy.
And not the Lifesaver gummies, the Lifesaver just suck on
the
them.
hard suck on them ones. Yeah. Awesome.
What's number 3, Jess?
Number 3 is scout out your route and do your research. So it's really important to find out where you're going to plan to take pit stops, meal stops, and breaks.
The consensus amongst the kids when I was going over this with them was that the best trips they felt were the ones that had great stops, great food. And in the past, like when you and I were growing up, you usually looked for those big chain restaurants because you knew what you were going to get at each of them. Now, I feel like these days, and you know me when we go on these trips, is like I'm looking for the signs for the breweries, distilleries, wineries because they tend to have the best food.
It is really good.
Yeah. So, So you see a sign, and so whatever the local craft brewery is, they probably have good food.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look up on the menu real quick to see what we can eat. And I mean, hell, that's what we did yesterday. Even when we were looking for food, it's like, okay, where we can get some food. There were some chain restaurants. We knew that, but it's like, okay, look up breweries. And we did. And there was a local brewery near where we were ending up because after we did all the hockey stuff, we did some outlet shopping.
Yes, we did.
And it's like, okay, I just finished coaching. You just finished hockey momming. And now I'm about to go shopping with my wife and tween.
Good times.
Dad needs a drink.
Indeed.
But also we wanted some good food, and the food was great.
It was excellent yesterday.
And we've done that on other trips too, where we've stopped. Now, I'm going through them, though, were all these road trips. And even some of them, I would list them as horrible ones because it was hot and miserable and we ran out of things to do or something didn't go right. The kids pointed out, like, we stopped and had great food. Like, we were coming back from, I remember we came back from my cousin's wedding up in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped at a brewery somewhere in Wisconsin, in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah.
It was like the highway and the brewery, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Food was outstanding. Kids loved it. That has
they have really good burgers.
Left a memorable mark on them. But whatever you do, have a place to stop. And that also gets into, like, when we were talking about that trip to Florida, you and I, like, look, when we were planning our wedding, we were down in Tallahassee. We got married in South Michigan. We were always going up and down, up and down. We could make that trip in amazing time overnight. Like, I think we did in 15 hours. It was 1,000 miles from my driveway, or from your parents' driveway to our place down in Florida. Mm-hmm. And we still could do it like in 15 hours. So we knew we could do these crazy road trips without kids. With kids, we're like, no,
thank you.
No, thank you. We're taking,
this will be
reserving a hotel room halfway. So have those breaks, have those pit stops. Don't kill yourself on this, especially if you're traveling with kids. I don't know. I mean, that's just pretty much nailed it. And especially if you want some side trips or road trips or side trips or sightseeing or whatever.
Go
research
if
stuff.
You're taking a road trip and there's like one of those really weird local, like,
weird spots, weird USA
traditional spots, like
tourist traps.
Yes, the only one I can think of right now is the mystery spot in Michigan, which I still have not been to, and I'm pretty ticked off about it.
We're going back to the UP for that race.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Well, we need to go to the mystery
But we stopped
spot.
at a different. We stopped at a different tourist trap, the giant lighthouse thing that had the great view of the streets of Mackinac and everything.
Great, except it was terrifying.
Whatever,
it
was
so
worth
the air.
What was it? $150 to go climb the thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was totally worth it. But there was that one when we were driving from Florida up to Michigan. You get somewhere
south of the border.
Yes, south of the border. It's like this little.
It's like 200 miles of billboards leading up to it.
There's one every mile, and so like. There's nothing else to look at. So you are constantly seeing this billboard for this place called South of the Border. And it's like really exciting. And then you finally get to it. You can see it from the highway. And it's like this little mini golf thing. And I think there's
all sorts of stores.
And little, like, tourist. It's basically a gigantic tourist trap.
It's like a strip mall with
it's got
putt-putt.
The best lead up to it because every mile there's this brand new billboard and some of them are hilarious and I could see where they would absolutely suck you in, and that would be an excellent place to go with kids because they would probably love it. And yeah, it would definitely leave some memories. I really wanted to go to it and you were like, nope, we have to go.
We used to like pressure my parents when we were going back and forth to UP to see family. There's Mackinac Island, which everyone, I think most people know about it, right in the Straits of Mackinac, but you got to take a ferry to get over there, and that takes time. My parents weren't willing to take that much of a detour, where it's like park the car, hop on the ferry, go over. We have been over to Mackinac. You haven't.
I've not.
I have been there many times.
Our children haven't either.
But my brother and I used to love to stop at Fort Michilimackinac, which is on the lower peninsula side of the Straits. And it's got the whole fort old-timey experience. And as little kids, we loved it. There's lots of pictures of us with our heads and arms in the stocks. Looking like the locals are throwing rotten tomatoes at us. Yeah. We just love stopping there. We'd always ask, can we please, please, please stop? And, give us the family a chance to get out, stretch our legs.
Awesome.
Yeah. That or going by the little shanties and shacks along US 2 and along the Lake Michigan coast of the UP. There's all these little shacks where they're smoking fish. and we used to get smoked fish,
Ew.
and then you get a little bit of cream cheese and put it on saltines. Oh, so good. Yep.
Nope.
It's an acquired taste, apparently.
Yeah. Indeed.
Says the girl from down south where they, like, suck the head.
That's delicious.
It is delicious.
See? You like my food.
You
because
should
it's actually good.
You should like my
whereas
food.
your food is not good. Nope. Sorry, Michigan person.
Jessica, move on to number 4.
Pre-pack and pre-position. So you want to get off on the right foot. Make sure you are packing and loading the car well ahead of your adventure.
So, like, packing the car the night before works great, or pre-position. So we'll pack the suitcases the day before and then put them down in the living room.
Yeah.
So the day of, depends on how much stuff's going into the car. If it's just everyone's got a bag, and then maybe one bag that's the community family toiletries bag, which you can pack the morning of, we'll have those pre-positioned so then I can just put them in. And I like that we all have suitcases, because then a bunch of rectangles and a bunch of cubes and everything locked together better in the back of the car than weird sized totes.
It's like playing Tetris.
It is like playing
It's
Tetris.
Great.
But having that stuff there or loading the car, so then it's not like I'm trying to run around the house and pack, which is a little infuriating, frustrating, especially if you have children. And then loading the car, which can have its own frustrations, because sometimes you have to put something in and then take 3 things back out to put something else in. Doing all that and then getting in the car and like stressing out, like, we're late, this took too long. Do it in advance. That way the next day you can get up and go, or you can get home from work and go. Reduces that stress level, makes life so much easier. I think that's
pretty much all there is
yeah.
to it. Just do it ahead of time, and then you don't have to stress out. You can actually sleep the night before.
Well, and then, like, you usually get, like, 10 miles, 20 miles on the road, and go, oh my God, I forgot X. Well, guess what? Now you loaded the car, and, like, an hour or two later, when it dawns on you, like, oh, I forgot this. It's like, you're still at home. Go get it. You got time.
What's number 5, Marco?
Number 5 is, it's kind of boring, but kind of helpful.
It's important.
And that is a cheat sheet of the addresses you need. Something not electronic. So if your phone dies, or if it's buried in your email, whatever, you've got it written out, printed out right there. You can put it into your car GPS or your phone GPS or your standalone. Does anyone still have a standalone Garmin? We did way back in the day. But anyway, you've got those addresses, so you need to go. And key information all in one place on one little sheet of paper. Maybe, your hotel information, key spots you want to stop at. We have a little folder. We put it all in, hotel reservation, confirmation number, everything. So it's in one place, even though it's buried in my phone all over the place. Boom, right there. Because the last thing I want to do when I get to, like, the hotel, they're like, whoa,
we lost your reservation. No, you didn't.
No,
it's
you
right
don't.
here.
Are you sure you're in here? You're like, listen, here you go. Now, the majority of the times, they know who we are. You hand over your driver's license and your credit card, and they're like, oh, there's your reservation. But every so often, especially if you're working with a mom and pop type hotel, things get lost. Have all that information ready to go, but especially the addresses too. Like, even yesterday, we had to go to a rink we'd never been to before, and I had the address, boom, ready to go. And put it on in. Which is great, because when they sent out the information, they put in the wrong zip code.
Nice.
So I was able to get that straightened out. Not that exciting, but necessary. Something else that's necessary. Jessica, number 6.
Emergency supplies.
What can we say? It happens.
Indeed, it does. Especially if you have 4 kids.
You have 4 kids, or you're going on
or
a
you
lengthy
have a
road trip,
dog.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You have a ferret. Who knows?
A ferret? Oh my God, a ferret in a car? That would be something. We once took our cat on a road trip to Maryland. He was a kitten. It was terrible. He spent the entire time meowing like crazy.
Did it happen all over your car?
No, actually it didn't. He was very well litter box trained. He also was apparently a private pooper, because we took specific steps in order to set up the litter box for him, and he refused to use it.
Did you have like a little dome over it?
No.
Privacy screen?
Maybe that's what we should have done. Anyways, he just waited until we got to like my grandparents' house, and then we set it up for them, and then he went a lot. But that cat spent the entire time meowing and running back and forth across the back seat with my brother and I, and we were like, we don't know what to do to make the cat happy. And my dad kept yelling, put him back in his crate, and that seemed mean, so... Yeah, it was interesting. I don't recommend taking a road trip with a cat.
Oh my God. Well, amongst the emergency supplies I have, like if you're traveling in the winter, even though you're like, well, we'll get there and like we're gonna go shopping and stuff, and like yesterday, like kid one just had her sneakers. You got to be prepared to get run off the, spin off the road, get stuck in the snow or whatever. So you want boots, blankets, gloves, like a hat. Even if you don't feel like you need it in your car because you got the heat on and where you're going, you're not going to need it.
Mm-hmm.
Think worst case scenario. What happens if you get a flat tire in the middle of nowhere on the highway in the winter? It's cold.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared. For us, we've got a air pump that hooks into the cigarette lighter, so we can pump up tires in case that spare isn't filled all the way. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
We actually in the winter keep a shovel in the car too. We've got a small condensed shovel in case you slide off the road and get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
We have a emergency battery jumper. So let's say you get stuck and you need a jump. Well, one, how many horror movies start with involve the scene where you especially the young lady by herself needs a jump and the crazy person comes and whatever.
Murder. It's always murder.
Or abduction or
something else.
Cult or whatever.
A cult.
But even
a
if you
crazy
can't,
cult comes
you can't
to
find
kidnap
somebody. You're at a weird rink or something. We've got a battery backup that you just go, you put it on the battery, and it'll jump the car.
Mm-hmm.
Ready for that. Tools in case you got to do a quick repair. Which, remember your old Toyota, the one we had the road trip up to Maryland. That was I know it was. We went for a funeral. That was sad, but also we had your car and. That also needed its own funeral.
It did. It took a giant crap in your sister's driveway.
Yeah, she was thrilled.
Actual crap.
It just wholly let loose of all its fluids. It's did they make the
so
pens
mad.
for a old Toyota?
Old Toyota Camry. Spoiler, they don't.
So then your dad had to pay, I forgot, on a holiday weekend, or no, on a weekend at least. It was to get a body shop just to patch it together so we could get back to Florida. And even then, every hour or two, we were putting more fluid in it because the radiator was leaking and it was a mess. About a week later, you got your Saturn.
I did, and that was nice.
Yeah. But luckily, we had some tools because there is lots of repairs along the way just for us to make our way back to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the tip I like to give for emergency supplies, and it comes in handy. I remember my sister one semester was taking classes up in Kalamazoo from down where we're at, and it was about an hour drive. And she had what turned out to be my first car. It was her car at the time, my dad's old car. It was an 81 Chevy Caprice.
Wow.
Yeah. That thing got 9 miles to the gallon until I went and fixed replaced the entire exhaust system and everything. And somehow that helped to get up to 13 miles to the gallon.
Well, hey, that's better than 9.
I remember I used to get to an intersection and the light would turn green and I would floor it to get through because the thing didn't have a lot of get up and go. Mm-hmm. But also when I floored it, and even on open stretch of road, being a responsible 16-year-old driver would floor it and all right, I'm just gonna go because I'm out in this area out by Coloma. There's nothing out there.
There's not. It's just farm.
And yes, Coloma, Michigan is a place. And I would watch as I floored it, and the gas. You'd watch the needle on the gas gauge would go down. It's just sloshing around. Come back up. Nope. The thing had just an incredibly large gas tank too. But holy crap, that thing was a gas guzzler. Anyway, she was driving this thing back and forth one summer, and it's a tip that she used, and I'm working with other people in safety and security, and it's a tip that comes up again and again. As gross as it may sound, put a roll of toilet paper in a gallon-size Ziploc bag, or leftover garbage, grocery bags or whatever, the plastic ones, not the paper ones, in case you have a gastrointestinal emergency. Yeah, you've got the supplies. One, the Ziploc bag keeps the toilet paper from getting all grody and nasty. But two, if you need something that contain the mess, you might not care. You might just let it go. But at least your toilet paper isn't full of crumbs and gravel and everything else that it picked up rolling around in the back of your car. They'll look on your face. Let's move on.
Let's do that. What's next?
Number 7. This plays off of that red Toyota story very, very well. Tune up or take your car to a checkup before you go off on massive road trips.
Yes, you should definitely do that.
One story that comes to mind, this is your van before we went to the Wisconsin Dells.
Yes.
And we were having some issues with the air conditioning.
Right. So we did take it in before the road trip, and we got the air conditioner fixed. Or so we thought.
Air quotes around fixed?
Yeah. So the trip getting to the Dells was perfectly fine. We were super comfy. Everything was fabulous.
We had all the other things checked. Checked the fan belts, checked the fluids, everything. But we knew the air conditioning had been a little wonky.
Yeah. So I don't know. They replaced the fluid, and they were like, "Okay, well, you should be fine." And we
if
said,
it's not, let us know, because then you have like a pinprick leak somewhere in the line. But otherwise, you should be fine.
Okay. So we did that, and the entire week we were there, like we were in and out of the car because there were places to go to. Everything was fine. We get in the car when it's time to go home, and we get about 10 miles down the road, and we realize that it is very uncomfortably hot in the van.
And because of construction, it went from a 3-lane highway down to 1-lane congested.
Yeah.
Heading south, and it was the end of the weekend, so everyone is heading towards Chicago, like us. Heading south.
Yep. And then it just got hotter and hotter and hotter in the car. And I was finally like, dude, I think the air conditioner is broken again. We need to roll the windows down.
Well,
we're not rolling the windows down.
We had noticed it before. Yeah, we had that. Then we also had rolled the windows down, but then we got stuck in traffic again.
Right,
another
and it didn't
backup.
help.
And now the windows are down and it's miserable and we're all stuck there. The kids are just sweaty messes.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what did we do? We took a detour to IKEA and we bought even more crap to stick into the van.
Yeah. If it wasn't stressful enough trying to redesign your home, and if you've been to IKEA with your spouse or significant other, you know that's a stressful life experience in itself.
And then add kids to it.
Now everyone is hot and tired and exhausted. Oh my God. Kudos to anyone who's still married after that. We made it through married after that.
Go us.
And then we took them out, and I got this adorable photo, by the way, of kid 3 and kid 4 sharing a milkshake, a giant milkshake. With each have a straw. It's very cute. And they actually remember that trip and those milkshakes after dinner. And they said that was one of their favorite road trips.
I mean, it was a really fun trip. We did
it was
some
a fun
really
trip,
fun things.
But when I said, hey, not the destination, the travel.
Oh.
And they listed that one as their favorite travel trips. Also, they listed it as one of their most hated trips, too. The hot part in the car.
So hot.
But that made the milkshake thing even better.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and then there's the whole getting kids who are scared of escalators through an IKEA. On a busy weekend. So, yeah. But yes. Be sure you tune up your car. Doesn't mean you won't run into issues out on the road, but it helps.
It does help. At least the first half of your trip will be good.
Hopefully. Minimizes the chances of being stuck in places where you get out of your car and you can hear the banjos going. You're like, oh, Lord, it's going to be deliverance.
Your dad did that. We were moving you to Florida State, and he took this weird detour through the Smoky Mountains, and he was like, let's go to it at night in the middle of nowhere, and I was so terrified that the car was going to break down somewhere in the middle of the mountains. And your dad was like, oh, this is fine. Don't worry. Your mom loves it when I take these weird little detours. And I was like, I bet she doesn't. And also, I bet she really doesn't when you do it in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia. No, thank you.
Yeah, we weren't even supposed to be in West Virginia. By the way, on our runs back and forth between Michigan and Florida when we used to live down there, remember the night that we stopped and we picked up a bunch of fireworks that were of the varieties that are illegal in Michigan at that time. This might still be, I don't remember. But we stopped at a gas station at 3 a.m. I don't know what state we were in. Mm-hmm. And so there's gas. They are they're selling fireworks. There's a barbecue pit there, which just happens to have some mosquito netting keeping the ash from flying over to the gas. There you could buy moonshine. You could buy the pre-made marketed stuff, and then there's the guys and over there is the mom and pop stuff that somebody's making.
Nice.
Yeah. That's an adventure.
Indeed.
All right. Well, that's the checkup and Turn the car. And if you didn't, well, then you definitely want those emergency supplies.
For sure.
Because stuff happens. Another reason why you might want those emergency supplies. Jessica, number 8. Number 8.
Check the weather. This is super important because you don't want to get stuck in a hurricane or
a blizzard.
A blizzard like we did. We decided we were going to go to Great Wolf Lodge for spring break one year.
No. It was President's Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
So the kids had a 4-day weekend, and we actually added another day to it. They were off on Friday. Mm-hmm. They were off the following Monday for President's Day, and we just took off Thursday. We're like, all right, Mental Health Day.
Yeah. We left, and it was snowing at home, but we were like, it's probably going to be fine. We'll get out of town, and I'm sure it'll clear up as we start to get
By the time
there.
we get to Grand Rapids, it's like, we should turn around. And I'm looking in the back window, and it's almost black. And this is at 10 in the morning.
Yep.
Huge storm had moved in, snowing, dark clouds. I'm like, well, there's no going back now.
Well, and we checked the highway thing, and the highway by us had actually been shut down. So, like, even if we had wanted to get home, we would have had a hell of a time actually achieving that.
There's not a whole lot between where we live and Grand Rapids,
exactly.
too. So it's like, where the hell are we going to go? We could have diverted to Kalamazoo, but...
Wouldn't have been any better.
Yeah, end up in a hotel room at the last minute, like an hour from home.
Right. So we just pressed on, and we went ahead and made it to Great Wolf Lodge, but it was probably the most terrifying car ride ever.
No,
we could not see.
And the kids were talking about that too. It was, when we were chatting about this, was like there were times where you couldn't see anything, and there was times where it was just beautiful, and the sun was out, and it was glistening off all the snow on the trees, and they thought it was pretty. But we got to play plenty of rounds of this famous Midwest game of, am I on the road or not? And which lane am I in? And if I'm on a 2-lane road, am I in my lane or am I across the yellow line?
Yeah, no, I think
Where the is the road?
Probably the scariest part of the whole trip was actually turning left onto the road that went up to the lodge, because there was a lot of incoming traffic, but you couldn't see it until they were about to smash into you.
Yeah, you got the morons in the white cars with no lights on in a heavy snowstorm around sunset.
It was terrible.
Or after sunset. It's like,
I was so scared that we were going to die.
Yeah. It's always the person in the white car during the snowstorm with no headlights on.
I think they do it on purpose.
I don't know. Camouflage. But there was that one. There was also the road trip where we had the summer that we got married. A lot of our friends and family got married too. So we did a trip where we went from Tallahassee up to Southwest Michigan, where we were from, and where we were getting married. Did some wedding planning. Went up a little bit further up in Michigan for 2 of our friends were getting married. Went to their wedding. Went back home. Then we took the road trip through Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. And actually, we got caught in a rainstorm in that one. So we had to stay in an emergency hotel in Pennsylvania off the turnpike because it was raining so hard they actually shut down the highway. The Waffle House was packed. So then we continue on. We make it out to Virginia, Maryland area, and we were there for your cousin's wedding, which was departing out of there. We were leaving late because your cousin had a dry wedding, and we forgot our flasks and airline bottles that we were going to sneak in. So everyone went back to your aunt's house, and the party was there. And because Virginia had weird liquor laws, they forgot to stock up. So the only people that had supplies were us. And so everyone's drinking Captain Morgan Tattoo, and we drank too much.
Way too much.
So the next morning was rough.
Rough is an understatement.
We had to get
we could not get out of bed.
We weren't the only ones.
Nope.
Yeah. The whole family,
everybody was
every
sick.
room, it was like a war zone. Everyone's just like sick as could be. We eventually, in the middle of the afternoon, were well enough to drive, and we started driving south. We're not paying attention that it was a hurricane coming towards Florida.
Hurricanes.
So we're driving along US 10 in the night, and I'm having trouble holding, and I'm like, there's no traffic. And then at one point, we get passed by an 11-car emergency vehicle caravan, and I'm like, we were on I-10, and I'm like, man, I'm having trouble holding the car on the road. Find out the next day, there were twin tornadoes were spawned, and they were flanking I-10 right around where we were.
That's great.
Yeah. Probably should have paid attention that there was a hurricane coming.
Probably.
Another hurricane stories. We're down in Florida, and we go down to a conference that actually everyone's bailing out of and getting out of because
hurricane is coming.
The hurricane was coming. It was supposed to be in Daytona Beach, and then they moved it to Orlando for safety, and it veers off. It goes off into the Atlantic. Cool, it's gone. Well, it did a loop-de-loop, and it came back and hit through Central Florida. So most people bailed, Some of our friends who were on the conference staff got stuck there for the weekend at the hotel.
They could not bail.
But we're like, you know what? Conference is technically done. Let's get out of here. Let's bail. But then we saw Pirate Adventure Golf, 36 holes, and went and played Pirates Cove played 36 holes of adventure golf. And then went, as the palm trees are turning sideways, going,
we have to go home.
Let's get the out of Orlando.
It's time to go.
Yeah. So
we made it out just in time too.
We finished the conference. We went. We knew there was a hurricane coming. We probably should have paid attention to how close that hurricane was.
Yeah.
But we did make it home safely. Moral of the story, check the weather. And then, of course, I mentioned the story of spring break in the Smokies and the big snowstorm. It's not like it was a great mystery that it appeared out of nowhere. That thing was moving across the country. You know, it's easy to pick on mom and dad, but mom and dad should have checked the weather.
They should have.
Before we got snowed in at the shag carpeting.
Yep, the Weather Channel was definitely a thing in the 80s. So.
Motel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yes, check the weather.
My parents probably should have checked the weather
I'll also
for
say,
our Florida trip, too.
So when I went to Michigan Tech, which is way up, it's so funny. Michigan Tech is like farther north than Northern Michigan University. Like, you get to Northern Michigan and you see the sign. It's like, okay, another 99 miles to get to Houghton. Not Houghton Lake, which is in the Lower Peninsula. Houghton. Keweenaw Peninsula, if you look at the UP, the Upper Peninsula, there's that little finger that sticks out into Lake Superior. That's the Keweenaw Peninsula. Michigan Tech is like right where like the thumb knuckle is on that thing. Here I am, Michigan kid. Directions on the hands. Anyway, we used to time our escapes from Michigan, and there was a lot of carpooling going on, getting up there and back. But it's like, okay, I can either skip a class and leave now and get home, or I can stay and attend my class, and I will probably get snowed in and not get to go home for Thanksgiving or go home a week late for Christmas or something. So we would watch the weather very carefully, and all of a sudden, all these engineering students become amateur meteorologists, trying to figure out when do I need to escape. Mm-hmm. And there are drives, and we're driving in the car, and we're looking at the car thermometer, and like, it's negative 22. My feet, like, I can't feel my toes in the car with the heat blasting.
It happens.
Yeah, we didn't have the best vehicles either.
Nope.
But we were college students, and we made it. So yes, check the weather before hitting those big road trips.
Yeah, and if you have checked the weather and you see a storm is coming, make sure you leave a time buffer.
That actually applied really well to yesterday. So yesterday we knew we were going to a rink we'd never been to before. There was some construction on the maps when we were checking the route, but we left over an hour buffer. And keep in mind, I know that kid one takes a half hour to put on her goalie gear. She just takes her sweet old time dressing and even longer to get out of her gear. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of the coaches, so I wanted her dressed. I didn't know what the locker situation was, so she was going already kind of half dressed in tights in case she had to be with the boys. But I knew if there was a girls' locker room, she would want to use it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted her dressed and in the main locker room in time so we can do the coach speech and everything and be ready. So we left after Kid 3's series of games at his jamboree, and we hit the road. And I wasn't the only one. The head coach did the same thing because he's got a kid that also plays mites, and he's got a kid on Kid 1's team. And it turned out all the parents who left early and left this huge buffer are the ones that got stuck in traffic because a tractor-trailer semi overturned and was blocking all three lanes and the shoulders of I-94.
Yep, it jackknifed right in the middle of the highway.
In Indiana. Tipped over on its side. And we all got stuck there. And then, of course, we're sending off messages through our team app and through text message and even on Facebook and everything. So those who left late, who were going to be cutting it by their skin of their teeth, getting on time, were the ones who were actually at the rink in time to start the game. You definitely want that buffer just because. Why stress yourself out more than that? Even then, I was stressed getting, but thankfully if we had not had that buffer.
Oh, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah, had we made it there in time for the puck drop. I was calling the team manager for the other team, like, look, the majority of our team is stuck in traffic. And even the ones who left later, quote unquote, they basically figured out how long the trip was, and they were going to be there half hour early. Mm-hmm. And they even then were calling it close.
Yeah.
But we had enough kids to start the game. And the rest, by the end of the game, we had everybody who was supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, leave yourself a time buffer that cuts down on the stress. You're more relaxed when you show up where you want to go. It gives time for other things. If mishaps happen. If you get stuck in traffic because of a traffic jam in Canada and the OPP doesn't know how to divert people off a highway and maybe hold up more than 2 local cars, eh? As I'm sipping my Tim Hortons over here because it's coffee day again.
Yep.
Yeah. Leave yourself that buffer because it happens.
Indeed.
And you know what? The nice part is if you have that extra time because you've left that buffer, that leaves for number 10, Jessica.
Don't be afraid to improvise.
Oh, hell yeah.
Climb to the top of the lighthouse in the UP. No.
Well, we did that. Because
did.
we had time. Go down the scenic drive. We went to that scenic overlook in the Lower Peninsula. We've done all these other things. Go play miniature golf. Like, oh, that looks cool. Or the cheese house or Wisconsin Dells. Go do those tourist traps. We can finally go to the mystery spot.
Yes, we
Pull
can
over
go to
for
the mystery spot.
The Instagram selfies in front of the Mackinac Bridge or down in Florida.
Go do the fun things. Go find a waterfall. Go have adventures. It's great. That's part of the fun of having a road trip. You can take side mini road trips to go and do those things.
You know, it's like, oh, well, we're planning on eating here, but wow, that place looks delicious. Or, well, hey, we looked up their menu online. Let's go there. Leave yourself that extra time you leave yourself in number 9 gives you time to improvise, have fun, explore, have an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you've
See
got
some local color.
Yeah. Or if you decide to take a detour.
Yeah.
And then you go, lock the doors, roll up the windows. I hear banjos. I've seen Deliverance. Let's get the hell out of here. And then going back the way you came to get back on your main route. You got time for that.
Yep, and then you have a really fun story.
Yeah, and traffic stories. And speaking of fun stories, what did we see while we were on the road yesterday for Kid One's game? After we got out of the being snarled in traffic for whatever, over an hour to go 2 miles. By the way, the GPS on the van cracking me up. We're just going, I wish we had gotten a picture in time. At one point, we were going 0.3 miles an hour.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But we get into Indiana. We're almost there. We're close to the Illinois border. What was it called? Iliana.
Yes, Iliana.
Indy Noise, whatever.
I like Indy Noise more, but they're calling it Iliana.
Whatever. We're right on the border between Indiana and Illinois. We are on the Indiana side. So Illinois people, you can blame the Indiana people. I do not know where this car was from because snow was covering the license plate.
It was, which is good because I definitely posted this picture on the internet.
Yeah, you posted. I am not putting this on.
That's good.
Our Red Arrow Health and Wellness Instagram account, Red Arrow HW, if you're looking for it. But it was a pickup truck loaded to the top of
a mountain. I am not exaggerating, people. An actual mountain full of dead raccoon and dead possums and one fox? Dead fox.
Yes.
And I'm fairly certain they were not just picking up roadkill off the side of the road because none of these animals appeared smushed, and I can say that with certainty because I have quite the close-up of the mountain of animals.
There was definitely some rigor mortis going on. There's a lot of stiff little legs.
A lot of mouths open in
that facial expression is great, except for we're doing audio only.
Yeah, but it was for you.
Yes. Lots of reactions. So the majority, it's interesting that the Instagram, because you put on Instagram, your personal Instagram and your personal Facebook,
I did.
The Instagram responses are hilarious. The Facebook ones are mostly
they're all horrified.
Horrified. Oh my God.
This is animal cruelty. How could you?
Well, I'm not discrediting that, but it's interesting the polar opposite because the Instagrams ones are more like somebody's heading to the hot dog plant. Yes. And raccoon, the other white meat. It's what's for dinner.
No, but
somebody's having a feast.
Kid number 1 was just like, what is happening in this truck? And we didn't have a good answer for her because this is something that I have just never seen in my life before.
Well, one of the dads at hockey was like, if I was a cop, I would have pulled him over and just gone, I just got to know the story. I'll ignore the 2 kilos of cocaine in the back, which also meant I wonder if they're just smuggling cocaine underneath and drugs, and that confuses the drug dog because all they can smell is dead animal. All sorts of jokes. So the Instagram one was more of we're going to deal with this craziness with humor, and the Facebook one was more of we're going to deal with this craziness with outrage.
It was something. For sure. Now Kid One has a story for.
I'm glad that it was also I'm glad it was also winter and we had our windows up because imagine what that thing smelled like.
No.
Imagine if it was summer and that guy's driving around, how bad the back of his truck would smell.
No. I don't want to imagine that because just driving by one little piece of roadkill in the summer with the windows down is bad enough, let alone a giant truck with a mountain of dead things.
Pickup truck loaded up. He can't, I don't even know how he could see out.
He couldn't see.
See out of the back window
right now, and there's no way he could have seen out the back window.
It's up to the roof of the pickup, right?
Actually, one goes over the roof of the pickup.
Oh my God.
But it is a legit mountain of dead creatures.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
Pure. Why told somebody like, Michigan has the Pure Michigan with ad campaign with Tim Allen. Yeah, the Indiana version, not as good.
Not so good.
No. Who do you think they'd get for that Pure Indiana?
I don't know.
We get Tim Allen and his comforting, almost the voice he does for Buzz Lightyear. Mm-hmm. They get like, what, Samuel Jackson? Pure Indiana, motherfucker.
I don't know.
Or Dave Chappelle doing the Samuel Jackson.
It's
yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right. So those are our 10 tips of road trips. Oh, they were a trip.
Yep, for sure.
Oh.
Good family memories. Go make some.
Yeah. All right. Cheers one more time, and then we're going to do the Red Arrow Challenge. The Red Arrow Challenge is our ongoing virtual multi-sport competition like no other. Do any of the component pieces or the composite points and enter in your totals. You can find the links off our Instagram, which is Red Arrow HW. Put your totals in, and for those who make it to the top of their age group in each category, we should give a shout out to on our podcast. And for the most recently completed week, the champions are...
Swimming.
Not a lot of swimming going on, but 40 to 49, Jesse's Girl.
Running.
9 and under, Easy E. 10 to 19, Lucky Dude. 20 to 29, Gator Boy. 30 to 39, The Logan. 40 to 49, Great One. 50 to 59, G Smith. 60 to 69, Pac Mac. And for our featured members, which are you and me.
Walking.
9 and under, Easy E. 10 to 19, Soleil. 20 to 29, Smitha. 30 to 39, Wildcat. 40 to 49, Coffee Dude. 50 to 59, Teddy. 68. 60 to 69, Mary. And for our featured members, me.
Biking on road.
20 to 29, H. Keener 305, 30 to 39, Cyclopath, 40 to 49, Coach T, 50 to 59, AR Miller, 60 to 69, Kilogram Ill, and our featured members, me.
Biking off-road.
These have got to be the Fat Tire people or someone who lives someplace without snow, which is not a lot of places this past week.
Right now.
Husky Mike with an I. Well, both in Mike and in Husky. 20 to 29 is Husky Mike. 30 to 39 is Dirt Devil. And 40 to 49, Cyclone.
Sit down paddling.
Nobody.
Stand up paddling.
20 to 29, Gator Boy. 30 to 39, Me West. No. 40 to 49-year-olds. 50 to 59, Mary. 60 to 69, Sunny D.
Cross country skiing.
20 to 29, Husky Mike. 30 to 39, Moose Man. 40 to 49, El Tiburon 95. 50 to 59, Elvis. 60 to 69, Pac Mac.
Skating.
20 to 29, Lexi with 2 X's. 30 to 39 was a tie. SB Nikki and SB Tom. 40 to 49, Coach T. No, 50 to 59-year-olds this week. And 60 to 69, MRH 313. And for our featured members, me.
Hockey.
9 and under, Yellow Ninja. 10 to 19, Lucky Dude. 20 to 29, Sid with 2 Ds. 30 to 39, Wildcat with a K. 40 to 49, Great Juan with the number 8 in there. 50 to 59, Herb. Or herb. Maybe they just grow like basil and stuff.
We make this joke every week.
I don't know.
Good job,
60
Herb.
to 69, MRH 313. And for our featured members, me.
Points.
9 and under. That just made me think of
I know.
Coach Dan's comment that you sound like Pinky in the Brain. What do we do every night? Points. Take over the room. Anyway, points. 9 and under, Easy E. 10 to 19, Lucky Dude. 20 to 29, Husky Mike. 30 to 39, Moose Man. 40 to 49, Great One. 50 to 59, Teddy 68. 60 to 69, Pac Mac. Nobody older than that. And for our featured members, me.
Good job, Hubs.
Thank you.
You did it again.
We can see what next week turns out.
I bet you'll win.
But for now,
again.
this was another episode of the Red Arrow Health and Wellness Podcast. We drop episodes every week, usually on Monday. check them out at wherever you get your podcasts, because we're all over the place now. Or you can find the link off of our link tree, which you can find right in the link in the bio on our Instagram, which is the handle. Yeah, the handle is RitterOHW. I need some more coffee. I also have to go coach a hockey game. So, this has been fun.
Loads of fun.
We'll do it again next week.
Okay.
I got something fun for next week. It'll be great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.